And then here we go, guys. A scooper. Worded this little scoop that I don't really consider a scoop or anything like that. It's kind of obvious, but he worded this just right to rile up not just one fandom, but both fandoms if you subscribe to Gunn or Snyder. Just saying. What's happening, film friends? Dave the Film Junkie here. That's right, it's Wednesday. I should be doing a Film Junkie live, but I did one last night, and I figured, okay, not going to do one tonight because I thought it was going to be like a slow news day, but obviously there's some things that happened when it came to DCU, and I went, should I do a live stream? And then I went, nah, let's do a good old-fashioned just recording of news. That's right, guys. We're going to be talking about some DCU news when it comes to Green Lantern. We're going to follow up on what I talked about last night. We're going to be talking about Joker 2 in Venice premiere, and reviews are coming out. And then, of course, we have the Batman. Matt Reeves talked about the Batman, talked about a little bit more than just, I'm still writing it. So we got that. And then, of course, we have a scooper that mentioned something about Superman and the DCU that riled up two fandoms, and I'll explain why that is when we get to it. So let's first talk about Lanterns, and I gave my thoughts about the whole Josh Brolin thing last night on last night's Film Junkie Live, and there was even mention, as I was talking about it in the show, that Ewan McGregor as well as Matthew McConaughey, that's right, you want to do a True Detective in space? Well, I'm the guy to do it for you. They were also mentioned, and I'm like, nah, I don't see McConaughey actually playing Hal Jordan, but I do see Ewan McGregor, and I was like, oh, okay, kind of see that. Now we have two more players have entered the game. That's right, we got Chris Pine and Timothy Olyphant. Kind of funny because Chris Pine has been mentioned as Hal Jordan for so long, but of course they got Steve Trevor when it came to the DCEU, so that wasn't possible, but there were still people that were thinking that maybe there was a possibility they were going to do something crazy right there. And then of course we got Timothy Olyphant. I think he's also been fan cast before too, not as much as Pine, because you can actually find fan art of Chris Pine as Hal Jordan's Green Lantern. Now, when it comes to me and how I'm feeling about this more, I mean, again, you guys heard how I thought about the whole Josh Brolin thing. I don't love it, don't hate it, but I really was digging the whole Ewan McGregor thing. Now that we have Chris Pine and Timothy Olyphant, out of the four, who are my thoughts? Who I think could be the best Hal Jordan Green Lantern? Timothy Olyphant. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I was like going, Chris Pine. Yeah. Then I went, no, Timmy. I think Timmy would actually be pretty good when it comes to Hal Jordan for Lanterns. I think it's just kind of, I don't know. He's got this likability to him where it's like he doesn't, okay, well, and then there's something else we'll talk about when it comes to Green Lantern when we get to the whole scooper section of the video. Joker 2, well, I think we all kind of saw this coming. I don't think anybody thought that it was actually going to be received like an absolute masterpiece, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. No, it's actually not. It's pretty divisive, however you want to say it. But yeah, it's pretty divisive when it comes to the reaction to this movie. I'm not going to go over all the reviews because I like to do that when we get closer to the movie's release. But I mean, they are saying stuff right now. The Hollywood Reporter, frustrating supervillain sequel is most electric when Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga sing. Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga and Todd Phillips' brilliant musical return to a world of an audacious concept. It's one that demands an audacious execution, and for the most part, that doesn't happen in the film. Just as bleak and daring as the original. Just some of the trades are putting out there, but I think they're pretty confident in this film. The first one was a little divisive at first as well, and I'm sure there's going to be some of those crazy things that happen, like, I'm not even going to mention what was happening back in 2019, but this movie is going to get nominated for all kinds of shit. Matty Reeves! Oh my God, Matty Reeves, you're talking more about the Batman part. Oh my God, I can't wait for more. I just keep talking about it. Keep talking about Matt, and we have a quote. We have a quote from Matt Reeves. Couple of quotes when it comes to his Bat Universe, and of course the Batman Part 2. This is from SFX Magazine. We've shared the script as we've been going along with DC, and they're super excited. It's going to dig into the epic story about deeper corruption, and it goes into places he couldn't even anticipate in the first one. It's another mystery. Oh, shocker there. I think we all know. Yeah, of course it's going to be another mystery. That's what he's going for when it comes to the Batman. But he also says the seeds of where this goes are all in the first movie. Oh my God, Matt Reeves, keep talking dirty to me. Court of Owls? Court of Owls. I mean, if he's talking about seeds that were planted in the first one, I mean, it just seems like that's where he was actually going to be going. There's some Hush stuff in there too, maybe. I don't know, but I love what he had to say right here. He also talked about the fact that, I'm not going to go into the entire quote, but he was just basically saying that, when it comes to his world, he can't do something fantastical like Gentleman Ghost, He wants to get it to the edge of, okay, it's getting a little too fantastical. I'm trying to keep it as grounded as possible, which I know frustrates some people, but that's why we have the DCU Batman. That's going to be fantastical, which is I'm okay with. Being a Batman fan, I'm okay with the fantastical, and I'm okay with the grounded. It's not grounded like Nolan's Batman. Again, Nolan was bringing Batman to the real world. Reeves is bringing the real world into Batman. That's what I like. When Kevin Smith said that, I said, that's perfect explanation for that. So there you go, guys. Say more, Matt. Say more! And then here we go, guys. A scooper. Worded this little scoop that I don't really consider a scoop or anything like that. It's kind of obvious, but he worded this just right to rile up not just one fandom, but both fandoms if you subscribe to Gunn or Snyder. Just saying. And some of us are right in the middle, like me, most of us, a lot of us. And it's just like the way that it was worded. I'm like, oh, I saw what you're doing here. Daniel RPK, and that's who this is from, when he basically was hearing things when it comes to Superman. I've also heard that the new Superman movie is fantastic. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And they're going all out. It's a complete shift to hardcore sci-fi and fantasy, the exact opposite of Man of Steel. It's set in a world very different from ours and far more removed from the DCEU. Heroes have been around for ages, and we'll see how it affected this world's history and has shaped the DCU. The DCU will feature various projects set across different timelines, not just present day. So more in the line with the approach of Star Wars than Marvel. I think we kind of gathered that from set images and what we've seen so far. But, just to say it's the exact opposite of Man of Steel. Oh, Daniel, you knew what you were doing. You were trying to rile up the Snyder fandom, and it worked. And it worked because it always works. Sadly, it always works. And, of course, it riles up the people who are all about Gunn and didn't really like Zack Snyder because, let's face it, there is just always going to be a discourse there, and it's ridiculous. And speaking of somebody who's like right in the middle there, because I like both directors, I like what Zack did, really enjoyed that, love Man of Steel, but very much looking forward to what James Gunn is doing, and very much excited about it. What are we doing here? It can't be the exact opposite of Man of Steel. Get the fuck out of here. It's still a Superman film, okay? Man of Steel is not the exact opposite of Donner's fucking Superman. There's still gonna be elements. And I've always said that James Gunn needs to find that balance in between Donner and Snyder. I think that's where he needs to nuzzle up. And it sounds like, yes, it's gonna be in a world that's not grounded in reality like what Zack was trying to do, even though it very much is hardcore sci-fi fantasy. Get the fuck out of there with this right here. You're just trying to rile up fans. That's just ridiculous. Or maybe whoever he got the information from, they were trying to be like, they didn't like what Snyder had to do, so they, of course, chose these words, which is probably the case as well, but I'm just kind of going like, no, that was also hardcore sci-fi fantasy as well. Zack was very much trying to do that. He was just trying to put it into more of the real world, and I don't want James Gunn to put it in the real world, which he's not going to. He's creating an aesthetic for this world, and I'm all about that. And there's also mention about Green Lantern. Regarding Green Lanterns, I've heard they're eyeing Josh Brolin because their vision for Hal Jordan is to have him as an older, gruff, no-nonsense mentor to a younger and redulous John Stewart. And as we know, Brolin excels at playing the grumpy type. The series is set to start filming next year with a story that follows Hal and John as they investigate a twisted and bizarre murder mystery on Earth, uncovering a conspiracy that will impact the entire DC universe, according to a production grid. Okay, all that sounds great. I don't want him to be as grizzled. I don't want Josh Brolin grizzle. I want Timothy Olyphant. I want a little bit of lightheartedness. That's why I'm like all about or even Chris Pine. I think Brolin is just a little too much. You know, it's just a little too much. A little too much for me. But, you know, that's just what I'm just kind of thinking about when it comes to how I want a Hal Jordan. I don't mind an older Hal Jordan being a mentor to Jon Stewart. I don't mind that at all. I really don't. I actually think that's the way to go. And I think that was actually what, you know, that Zack Snyder guy kind of wanted to do too. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that, but I just like Josh Brolin. I don't know about that. That's why some of the other actors, you know, McConaughey, that just doesn't work for me. But the other ones, the other three, McGregor, Oliphant, and Pine, I think would be actually a better choice when it comes to this. Because it's like, yeah, they could still be grizzled and older, but they could still have, I don't know, just like a little bit of optimism. I just don't see that with Josh Brolin, even though I know he could probably do that. But there you go, guys. That is the DCU news that I wanted to talk about. News, rumors, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, it's all just like whatever. There's, of course, the discourse that's all out there and everything like that. But let me know your thoughts about it down below, about all the things I talked about. What do you think about everything I talked about? Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Love ya. Talk to you later.